They don't, but, and I went through this as governor multiple times, although Amazon never offered to relocate in Vermont. But the problem is that everybody does it. And Amazon set this up so they'd have to do it. When the state next door is offering, I mean, this is an estimate of $28 billion that would have come into the coffers of New York State and New York City. So to pay $3 billion, which you actually aren't paying, it's just tax relief, seems like a good deal. And if the state next door is going to do a better job, they're going to get the 30,000 jobs or whatever it is. So that's why we do it. They don't need the subsidy. They shouldn't have the subsidy, but they get it because it's a bonanza and it's a gold mine for the citizens.
Did this go wrong, Governor Dean, because the negotiations were so much held in secret, number one, and because the state did not get from Amazon the kinds of contributions to infrastructure improvements, to housing and so forth that Amazon clearly might have been able to pay if they'd negotiated harder?
I actually think the way that Amazon set this up was bound to result in something like this, because in order to do something like this, you have to pre-sell it. There are always naysayers to every deal. And some of the reasons they're naysaying are decent and reasonable, and some of them are not. But there are always naysayers. So the way you get a deal like this done is you and the company, ideally, you and the company go sell the deal to the public. And then when you find out what they're really upset about, you have to change those things. Amazon didn't set it up that way. It was our way or the highway. Whoever gets the biggest bid gets to win it. And the mayor and the governor and all that were in these negotiations. They didn't go out and sell this. But it was pretty hard to sell something unless you have some control over what Amazon's willing to do. If they had gone and in writing put there are going to be 10,000 jobs for the people in the public housing nearby, and they were going to do some things, some amenities for some of the people who felt like they were going to be disadvantaged, they might have gotten far, but they didn't. The way that was set up, they didn't have a chance to do that. It was everybody's bid. You open the bid, and that's it. And that's why this happened. And Amazon is not going to negotiate. They don't have to. They got 20 other places they can go.
Chris, Charlie Munger had an interesting comment about this morning. He was speaking broadly, but he said, I think it's really stupid for a state to drive rich people out. They're old. They keep your hospitals busy. They don't burden your schools, police departments, or prisons. Who wouldn't want rich people?
I don't think this is a question of driving rich people out. I think it's a question of at what point is the taxpayer willing to subsidize a company that makes $1 billion in profits? I mean, think about it in terms of the Amazon case in New York. They're asking for $2 billion to create 25,000 jobs, which works out to about $80,000 in rebates for jobs. Now, that is going to be a pretty tough sell under the best of circumstances. When you have a company that also pays, on average, the last, between 2011 and 2016, paid about 11% at a tax rate. Last year paid zero on about $11 billion in profits.
So, Chris, you don't think a single other job other than the 25,000 they'd be incentivized to do? They only get the $1.2 billion if they create the 25,000. You don't think any other jobs would be created on the back of that?
No, I think there would be jobs to be created. But at some point, when you're making that much money, when you're worth that much in terms of your market cap, which is literally in the billions, when the person that owns the company is a billionaire, at some point the taxpayer, when they have a choice to make,
they don't have to come to New York. They got so much money. They don't have to come to New York. They don't have to. So New York is trying to make it attractive to them. That's how this is working.
But this is not should not be the city having to beg a company to come to them.
But that's the situation the city's in.
On top of it, having to subsidize them billions of dollars. I hate to say it, and this is, I think, the choice, and this is going to get worse. This is bigger than Amazon in terms of what's going on right now. There is a lot of frustration in this country between income inequality and what they see as an unfair subsidization of companies.
I can understand it in the Foxconn situation. I understand it in the Tesla situation in upstate New York. But if you look at the specifics of this deal, isn't this going to be worse for Queens, worse for Long Island City in the long run?
That's the right question to ask.
No, that is not actually the right question to ask.
Yeah, it is the right question to ask. This has been going on for 25 years. This is not a new phenomenon.
And it's been wrong for 25 years.
I agree. It's better if you don't have to do it, but your choice is the choice that you just laid out.
I want to hear why that's not the right question, because I think that should be the question. Why shouldn't we say, if not Amazon, then what is the future for Long Island City? What is the future for job creation in New York? And couldn't this have given us the biggest advantage to jumpstart job creation in Manhattan?
So here's the reality about what Amazon is trying to do. Amazon, in terms of their business model, in terms of where they want to go, is basically adopt more automation. The Amazon Go store model, for example, is something they want to push. We already know there's been studies that have been done that show over the next decade or so the potential job losses in retail.
So you're against Amazon in general?
No.
So how does this pertain to Long Island City, Chris?
I'm against subsidizing multi-billion-dollar companies in the back of taxpayers because taxpayers are not in the business of having to subsidize a company that can afford to open a headquarters there. This is a different question of, let's say subsidize a company that is trying to promote a new product, an innovative new product. That I can understand to some degree. You're talking about a company that makes tens of billions of dollars in profit.
If Amazon didn't make any profit, you'd be more willing to subsidize?
There's only one question you have to ask. Would Long Island City have been better off if Amazon had gone there? And I think the answer is, if you craft the deal a little better for the local people, the answer is yes.
Howard,
now
what would you say to people?
Nashville's going to be better off, and that's too bad.